Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is the virtual town hall meeting at Michigan Tech to discuss our plans to welcome you to campus this fall as part of the Husky family. We're so excited that you've chosen to take the time to join us today, and we're going to share the plans we're making to provide campus-based instruction in a safe and effective manner for everyone on campus. My name is Allison Carter. I'm the Director of Admissions Operations, and today I'll be serving as the moderator for the meeting. Before we start, I want to share a few things with you about today. The formal part of the presentation will be about 25 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions and answers following that to take us up to the full hour. Several questions have been submitted in advance, so we'll plan to start with those. You're welcome to use the Q&A feature in the Zoom interface at any time to share questions with us, and we will do our best to get through as many of them as possible in the time that we have remaining today. The event is being recorded, so if you do lose your internet connection, if something comes up, or if you simply just want this as a reference, or you want to share it with someone who couldn't make it live today, we'll have that available for you on the admissions virtual event page starting sometime late tomorrow or on Thursday. It'll also be on YouTube, and we do plan to send an email out to you with the link so that you'll have this as reference, and you can again share that with anyone who might need to see it. So I'd now like to introduce our panelists who are joining us today. And panelists, if you can give a little wave so that everyone knows who they're going to be talking with. John Lehman is here. He is our Vice President for University Relations and Enrollment. Jackie Huntoon is here. She is our Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. We also have Bonnie Gorman, our Dean of Students and Vice President for Student Affairs. Joe Cooper is our Director of Financial Aid. And Sarah Schulte is joining us. She's our General Counsel and Secretary to the Board of Trustees, and also has been leading our Return to Campus team. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to John Lehman to get us started. John?
Thanks, Allie. Well, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. We're so excited about having you come to campus. When most of us who work at higher ed think about our two favorite days on campus, the first day, of course, is commencement, but closely behind that is the first day when students move into campus. And in Houghton, Michigan, that happens in late August, and it's usually very warm and absolutely gorgeous outside. And today is just like that here in Houghton. And being with you all and seeing that weather reminds me that that move-in day is fast approaching and that we're looking forward to seeing you arrive here. So today we're going to be talking a lot about processes and answering the how questions. How will you go to class, and how will you live on and around campus? And most importantly, how will you get that Michigan Tech college experience? But I'd like to take a few moments first and think about the why embedded in each of those how questions. You know, Michigan Tech is recognized for the outcomes experienced by those who graduate, and those outcomes are excellent. You probably remember this, but Michigan Tech is a top 20 public university for early career earnings. You know, we have 96% placement rate within 6 months for students in their field of study. We have one of the largest career fairs in the nation with about 415 companies participating every year. And of course, we're ranked number 8 in the nation for public universities on return on investment. And there's a reason for these outcomes. And in the solutions that we're going to be presenting with you today, we're going to be talking about some of those reasons and following these 5 tenets, which we'll keep in the forefront of our minds. One is, we're not expecting to change anything about the rigor or the quality of the curriculum that you experience when you come to Michigan Tech. Our faculty and staff accessibility will not change with a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. We're expecting no degradation in student life and leadership and how you participate as a college student. For sure, we're going to make sure that students themselves are central to everything that we do here at Michigan Tech, just as it's always been. And of course, we want to make sure that you experience the pristine Keweenaw Peninsula that drives so much about everything that Michigan Tech is about. If you're in Michigan, you may have heard that the Upper Peninsula tomorrow is opening to level 5. This was from the governor. For those of you outside Michigan, this means that starting tomorrow, we're going to be one step closer to normalcy and be able to continue our plan to be sure that we're ready for you in the fall. So we have these processes and the how questions, and these are held together by 3 ideas. One is we're going to expect some personal responsibility of you all as the students, and this is no different than it is any year, that you're going to be responsible for a component of your education. And two, we're going to hold ourselves responsible to make sure that we are providing with you an environment that takes into account your education as well as your health and safety. And then three is this is going to be a community effort. And you're going to hear these themes throughout all of our panelists this afternoon. You know, so much of Michigan Tech's identity and the identity of our students is shaped by our environment here in Houghton. And we're very much looking forward to seeing you come to campus in August. So now I'm going to turn it over to our provost. Our provost is the person that's in charge of all of the academics at the institution. And our provost here is Dr. Jackie Huntoon. Jackie?
Thank you, John. So I just want to follow up on what John said and thank you all for being here today. It's a beautiful day here in the Keweenaw, nice and warm, mid 80s. We're having a great day and it's great to be able to spend some of it with you. So we're all very excited about getting back to campus in the fall. And I want to talk a little bit about what that might look like. So we're planning to have a lot of campus-based and face-to-face instruction, just like we always have had at Michigan Tech. So that means classes meeting at particular times, which are augmented or supplemented by things like group work or projects or research with faculty. We do know, however, that some things may come up in the fall that we don't anticipate. We had that happen in the spring. And if something like that does happen, we are prepared to continue to provide the best education possible, whether we need to go remote, which is basically what we all did in the spring when the faculty were teaching from their homes, students were participating in their classes and other activities from their homes. And at the same time, we'll also be offering some fully online asynchronous courses. So asynchronous and online courses are the kind of things that students participate in when they can't commit to a particularly scheduled time or place for their learning. So those courses are accessible to anyone who's in them at any time from anywhere. So what we're really working hard to do right now, and the faculty are doing an amazing job, is trying to make sure that no matter what modality we're in, we're able to provide all of the high touch, high impact type of practices that Michigan Tech is known for. So this includes things like the enterprise program, where students from across campus come together to take on business projects that are often funded by industrial partners, senior design projects in engineering. The learning labs will be functioning. They function throughout spring semester. So that's where students are helping other students learn better in their courses. We'll have practicums, community involvement, research projects, the traditional quizzes and tests that are known by all, discussion sections with faculty and graduate students, lectures, office hours with faculty, advising, group work, etc. So no matter what happens in the fall, we're ready to provide all of these experiences, and our faculty are working over the summer to make sure this happens for you, no matter what surprises fall semester may bring to us. Next slide. So just to give you a sense, I know some of you experienced probably some remote learning during the spring, and it might not have been the best experience you ever had. We actually did pretty well with this. So at the end of spring semester, we surveyed our students, and the students identified over half, 55% of the faculty who were teaching during spring semester as having done an outstanding job during the transition to remote learning. And I think this provides evidence that even if we do get some surprises here in the fall, we're going to be prepared to deliver the education we want to deliver, no matter how we have to do it. So what worked really well in the spring, students told us, was having access to recorded lectures so they could go back and review on their own time. Having virtual office hours with faculty, and it was the individual support and feedback from faculty that students appreciated. And that didn't end when we went to remote. We're already doing a lot to get ready for fall and make sure things are even better than they were in the spring, should we need to go to any sort of remote or online instruction. Prior to the time our campus closed due to COVID-19, only 25% of the faculty here were trained specifically to teach online or remotely. By the time fall semester rolls around, 84% of our faculty are getting trained. And in fact, the University Senate passed a proposal for those who aren't going through the full training to get some amount of training so that they're better prepared than ever before. In addition, we found that during spring semester, students who had access to some sort of computer, whether it was a laptop or a desktop computer, which included a camera and a headset, were the most successful. They had the most flexibility and the most success with their courses. And so for fall semester, we're actually requiring that students come to campus prepared with some sort of computing device, not necessarily a laptop. If they're in the College of Engineering, a laptop is required, but some sort of computing device that will let them participate in classes, even if they need to do so remotely. And although the campus as a whole may stay open and most of the classes will be meeting face-to-face, it's possible that a particular student might be exposed to COVID-19 or might actually become sick from COVID-19 and need to stay away from class for a short period of time. And while that's happening, they'll be able to continue participating just like they were in the classroom as long as they have this computing device with a camera and headset. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, Dr. Bonnie Gorman, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about what to expect when you get back to campus.
Thanks, Jackie. I too want to say welcome. Orientation is probably my most favorite time of year when all of you arrive on campus. It's just, there's so much energy and I can't wait till you get here. Like Dr. Huntoon, we are all in a planning mode as well. Orientation move-in will take place on Friday and Saturday, August 21st and 22nd. Times will be assigned to you, and we ask that you adhere to those to the extent possible. We're also going to ask you to symptom monitor for 14 days before you arrive on campus. Anyone with symptoms of COVID-19 should plan to delay their arrival. Orientation activities will be a blended experience of online and in-person events. For example, students may listen to a speaker online about academic success and campus resources, and then discuss these services in more detail with their orientation team leader. Similarly, they may watch a presentation on community standards and expectations and have conversations in their smaller group. Department and academic advising meetings will afford students the opportunity to begin mapping their academic experience here at Michigan Tech. There will also be opportunities and events for you to meet others and to make friends while maintaining physical distance. Things like tie-dyeing, paddleboarding, yoga, anime screenings, and gaming tournaments, to name just a few. And classes will begin on Thursday, August 27th. One of the most exciting things about orientation is actually arriving on campus, right? And moving into your room. So in accordance with public health guidelines, we've reduced occupancy in the residence halls to 2 people in a room. Our dining services is planning to have grab and go service in disposable containers while also providing seating while maintaining physical distancing guidelines. Even though we're using a grab and go format, we expect to continue to be able to provide a wide array of choices. And in the midst of the change, we can certainly continue to expand and adapt our seating arrangements as well. Of course, dining will also be able to accommodate any students with special dietary needs. We are also following CDC guidelines with regard to cleaning protocols throughout the residence hall and in dining services as well. In the residence halls, in public spaces, and in common areas, students will be asked to wear face coverings and to practice physical distancing. The staff there will be trained with up-to-date information on COVID-19 and will provide support to students should they become ill. We do have isolation space identified should we have any students who contract the virus, and we've been working regularly with our health department to establish appropriate protocols for the area. Some things you'll want to bring. You will be expected, as I said, to wear face coverings in the residence halls, but also in class and outdoors if you're unable to maintain physical distance. So you may want to get creative and design something for yourself. Thermometer, we recommend that so that you can check for any symptoms of the virus. Disinfectant wipes to keep your personal surfaces clean. And of course, we want you to bring your husky spirit. One thing we've learned as a part of this outbreak is the importance of our values, specifically accountability, community, and yes, tenacity. Campus life, I've already mentioned that there are opportunities to explore the resources on campus, but there'll also be opportunities for you to hang out with friends like these students here and get involved on campus and in the Michigan Tech community. Welcome Week takes place during the first week of class, and one of our Welcome Week traditions is to distribute free binders full of reminders about resources and upcoming events. We also have a couple snack attacks planned for that week as well. As you probably know, Michigan Tech has more than 230 student clubs and organizations. So that you can see all that Michigan Tech has to offer, you'll be able to participate in a virtual K-Day. And then throughout the fall, in September and October, there will be smaller in-person interest fairs. So you'll be able to see and meet people from groups. So for example, club sports might have a day, cultural organizations and religious and spiritual events, spiritual organizations could meet as well. We do plan to have a virtual career fair. We've purchased a new web-based platform to host the fall fair. And instead of having one long afternoon, this format actually affords us the opportunity to spread things out and host a fair for 2 days. All of the support that we provide to students in preparation for the career fair will continue both virtually and in smaller in-person sessions. The interactive Parade of Nations will allow you to travel around the world without leaving Houghton. And events like our social justice lecture series will take place in person within the capacity limits identified at the time. And hopefully the room next door will be able to stream the presentation. Then for those who missed it, we can post it all online. Last but not least, what will athletics look like in the fall? Well, we're still waiting for some guidance from the NCAA on this, but right now the governor's order has indicated that there can be 500 people at an outdoor event and 200 people at an indoor event. So we're working with that currently, but we recognize that by the time seasons start, this could change. Again, we're delighted that you're planning to come to Michigan Tech, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the fall. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you the newly married Dr. Joe Cooper, Director of Financial Aid.
Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Just to echo what everyone else has said, we are so excited to have you all join us on campus this fall. It's actually really exciting looking through the list of attendees. I recognize so many names of students and families that I and my peers here have already gotten to interact with in many cases, and we're really excited to meet you this fall again and have you join our community here. So a few things I want to emphasize. First and foremost, my team and I in financial aid, we are a resource here for you. A few quick reminders first. There is still time to complete the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, if you haven't already done so. This is a great way to just maximize the options that you have for your financial aid. Just make sure if you do that, you have your results sent to Michigan Tech. Also, if you were one of the folks that was selected for verification, no worries, that's something that's very common. It just means we need some additional documents to confirm your FAFSA results. Just get those into us as soon as you can, ideally within a few weeks before you come to campus. If you're not sure about what that means, you can log on to your My Michigan Tech, click on the financial aid tab, and that would tell you if you have any outstanding verification document requirements or not. And finally, if you're intending to utilize your federal loans or an alternative loan, we recommend that you try to accept those loans by August 1 if you can. That allows us to make sure that things get applied to your student account with enough time in advance. So, you know, we recognize ultimately that as a result of the COVID-19 situation, many students and families may have additional questions and concerns about financial aid. And I really want to emphasize again, that my team is here to help. If you have questions, concerns, feel free to call us. You can email us. Our information is on the screen right now. The quickest way to get a hold of us right now is to send us an email at finaid@mtu.edu. You can also call us with the number on the screen as well. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to our general counsel for our university, Sarah Schulte, who's been doing the big role of basically putting together this return to campus plan so that we can have all of you come back and join us safely this fall.
Thanks, Joe. So I have to say, we are so incredibly excited to have everyone coming to campus. We have everybody you've seen here today, in addition to many other leaders and other individuals across campus who've been planning diligently for this. Right now, what we are in the process of, to give you some background, is a 3-step plan that's really designed to return students here for the fall of 2020. And for us to remain open during the entire fall of 2020, we want to avoid having an outbreak here that might cause us to go remote when we'd rather have you here in person. So right now, when we're in step 1, we started our step 1 on May 28th. This brought some employees back to our campus who had work that could not be completed remotely. It also reopened our research labs. We instituted daily symptom monitoring for everyone who is on campus at that point in time, and have mandatory COVID-19 training for all of our employees. We are also testing any employees who are symptomatic for signs of COVID, and that's been going incredibly well so far. We are really looking forward to moving to step 2. As was mentioned earlier, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is moving to phase 5 tomorrow, and we will be moving to step 2 on Monday, in accordance with Michigan's continuing to reopen. So what does step 2 mean? That means we are welcoming many additional people back to campus. We will be still encouraging remote work where that's effective, but employees will be permitted to return at that point in time. The library and the museum will reopen with some new guidelines and social distancing in place. And as it's permitted, we will then, we'll continue our testing of symptomatic individuals, but we will begin beta testing of asymptomatic individuals. That is dependent on healthcare guidelines, allowing that to happen, some testing supplies, and ensuring that financing is in place so that there are not adverse consequences to those we're asking to be tested asymptomatically. Also in step 2, we have some visitors who will finally be welcome on campus. Those are those who are consistent with the institutional missions. So some volunteers in our research labs will be back. We will have some human subjects research that is going to be able to continue in step 2 as well. What we're all really focused on, is getting to step 3, which is when we have all of our students return for fall of 2020. That's really where we want to be. At that point in time, what you'll see are some very tech solutions. We want to show you some transparent data about what's going on campus with the COVID-19 situation so that you are comfortable and you're aware of everything that's going on. Part of what you're going to see is some consistent messaging regarding the campus health and safety levels, and that's the next thing that I want to talk to you about. What we have developed is 5 campus health and safety levels. You will see these when you are on campus. It'll be very visible to you what level we're at, and it will be very clear to you what that means, because you will see it announced throughout the campus on a very regular basis. We are anticipating, based on where we are with the state right now, that we'll be coming back at level 3. That could change. Things change a lot with COVID-19, but we're right now anticipating coming back at level 3. That means mixed modality instruction. Mixed modality instructions means that we will be face-to-face to the greatest extent that we can. There will be some remote instruction involved in that, as we will likely need to maintain social distancing and have some other constraints in place, but we anticipate being here for face-to-face instruction as much as we can. We will have daily symptom monitoring in place. As Bonnie mentioned earlier, all of you will be asked to monitor your symptoms for 14 days before coming to campus. Then you will also be encouraged to do that daily symptom monitoring once you are here on campus. Right now, COVID-19 is not prevalent in our area. There's only 6 cases in our entire county. Almost all of those have come from other locations. We are cognizant of the fact that as we bring many people here from many different locations, there is some chance that people, even asymptomatically, may be carrying the virus. We want to make sure that we're catching those as early as possible, that we're isolating those individuals, and that we are stopping that spread so that we don't have an outbreak on campus causing a greater problem. So to that end, we also will have contact tracing in place. We will have testing for symptomatic individuals and asymptomatic individuals. All of the testing here is voluntary. However, if you are symptomatic and choose not to test, we may ask you to stay away from campus during that time period. We do anticipate during level 3, there will be some size restrictions in place for indoor and outdoor events. Again, it will be a bit dependent on what's going on statewide and nationwide at that time. Our goal is to move down to level 1. So our goal is to ensure that we don't have spread going on campus. As we have some time here after students return, we have a couple weeks of robust testing under our belt. Hopefully we've not been seeing cases, or we're able to squash that spread so that we're feeling more comfortable. We can move down to level 2 and then level 1, where we can lessen those social distancing restrictions that need to be in place. That said, we are prepared in the event that we are seeing cases on campus, or we have a mini outbreak in some region. We are prepared. We have levels we can go up, and some greater restrictions we may put in place, such as closing some common areas, additional visitor restrictions, and targeting our asymptomatic testing protocol to ensure that we're addressing those needs. Now I want to turn it back to Allie to answer some of your questions.
Great, thank you, Sarah. So before we get to the Q&A, I wanted to cover some important next steps and some things that you should be thinking about, waiting for, watching for as you get ready to come to campus for orientation. First of all, is that orientation information. This is an exciting time. The team is really excited to share with you everything that will make your Michigan Tech experience great. So be sure that you're checking your Michigan Tech email and also your home mailbox for both paper and electronic communications that are going to be coming your way. We'll also be getting your class schedule ready, and I saw there was a question about when first-year students schedule classes. We actually do that for you here on campus, and our registration coordinator is getting ready to do that at the beginning of July. So we're waiting for those AP scores to come in and get everything processed and ready for you. Once that schedule is ready, you'll get an email to your MTU email account, and you can check to see what your class schedule is going to be like. Your student bill will also be available in July, and you'll get an email when that is processed so that you can go review that. If you have questions, connect with Joe and his staff if there's anything that you need, or just have some uncertainty about what to do next. On-campus housing assignments will be released in early August, and that will be through My Michigan Tech on the housing tab, so make sure that you are checking that. They will not be ready before August, so wait for that. You will get notification when everything is ready. And another important step about starting on the right track here is being in the right math class. And so your first math course is based on your major. There's really great information online about this, as well as in My Michigan Tech, so that you can make sure you're getting placed into the class that's going to start you and keep you on track to complete your time here in as few semesters as possible. So I encourage you to go out, review your current placement, and then see if you need to challenge that by using the ALEX Math Placement Assessment, which is an online tool that you can use. Also, another very important part is uploading the photo for your Husky Card ID. And we really encourage you to do this year so that you can make sure that you have your ID ready for you when you arrive for check-in. This is going to help you avoid extra stops. It's going to help with social distancing procedures, and it's just going to make your whole experience a lot more smooth when you arrive. So follow the instructions to upload an acceptable photo. It'll go through a small process, and you'll get notification if that photo is approved or not, and then you can upload another one in the event that it is not. So you heard me talk about My Michigan Tech and your Michigan Tech email quite a bit here on this slide. I do want to encourage you to check those regularly. That's a really important part of staying informed and making sure you're not missing any information. So I'd encourage you to check that several times a week, if not daily, to make sure that you're getting all of the information that you need. A lot of departments here are only going to communicate with the student at this point, and only through Michigan Tech email. So make sure that you are checking that and keeping informed. So any new updates about our return to campus, anything happening regarding to fall instruction, that will all be posted on the mtu.edu Flex site. So I encourage you to check that regularly for updates. In the event we aren't able to get to the questions that are posted today, we'll be updating questions on that site as well as elsewhere so that we can have that information available for you. So at this time, I'd like to open this up to question and answer. I know several of you have submitted questions through the chat feature or through the Q&A feature. Please make sure to continue to do that if you have questions. We have several questions that were submitted in advance, so we'll start with those and we'll get to the questions that came in live next. So as we go through, we'll do our best to get through these. We've got about a half an hour together. So panelists, try to be concise, and then we can get through as many as we can. So Sarah, I'd like to start with you. And the question is, will the students be returning after Thanksgiving break?
So the answer to that is we hope so. You may have heard that many other schools are either starting early and ending at Thanksgiving break, or some are starting on time and going fully remote after Thanksgiving break. We recognize that all of you are going to have to be coming back in January, and that the situation with COVID is pretty fluid and seems to be changing a lot. So we are very hopeful that we're going to be able to return back after Thanksgiving break, that we'll have the situation relatively under control. We also, because of these flex modalities that have already been worked into tech system, we are prepared and ready to make a call at that time if it seems unsafe to return. We're going to be able to take measures either with those who choose to travel or with everyone to do the right thing at that time. So we hope so.
Great, thank you. Bonnie, this next one is for you. And the question is, do a lot of students use bicycles on campus? And is there somewhere to store bicycles that's outside of the weather?
Well, sure, a lot of students bring bikes. They ride on the trails well into the fall, and some even ride through the winter. There are covered bike racks at several different places on campus, and Residence Education and Housing Services does have storage available for students who want to pack them up for the winter.
Fantastic. Joe, the next question is for you. Are there any concerns about sports scholarships being affected?
Sure, good question. As we talked about a little bit earlier, we are excited for athletic events to hopefully take place here. They may look a little bit different, whether in terms of how the spectators are or how they take place, but we are at this point counting on athletic events to take place, and therefore at this time we are planning on having athletic scholarships pay out just as they would. I would say for specific questions, you might reach out to your coach of your specific sport, but at this point in time, we don't anticipate any changes to those financial aid awards.
And Bonnie, we're going to go back to you. What about the timing of athletes arriving in the fall or for the fall semester, and specifically about football?
So all of the teams are receiving communications from the coaches and the athletic department. As of right now, I checked in with them earlier in the week, and they indicated that all of the arrival dates are current and as on schedule. So if you have that information, as you should, then that's when you come to campus.
Great. It would be nice to have students back on campus for sure. Another question for you, Bonnie. Are there plans to release students from housing contracts who feel that their presence in the dorms might put them at risk?
So housing has a process for students who would like to leave the residence halls. It's a contract release form. And what the student who would like to leave would need to do is complete that form, and then it would be reviewed by a committee in housing and a determination would be made.
Joe, when do parents need to apply for loans for fall semester?
In terms of applying for loans for fall semester, anytime really between now and August 1 is an ideal time to do that. You still can do that a little bit after that, but it starts to cut it a little bit close. But yeah, you can start that process now. If you said when parents apply for loans, I believe, Allie, is the language the question had.
That is
correct.
So
if you're looking at the federal Parent Plus loan, you can go online through the federal government website at studentloans.gov and start that process there. Or if you're shopping around for alternative loans, you can do that as well.
And Sarah, this question is for you. The person who asked would like to know how we're going to enforce the wearing of face masks and what are the consequences if students don't wear a mask?
So what we're really focused on right now here at Tech is what we're calling Be Smart, Do Your Part. We want everybody to participate in our collective efforts to keep safe those in our Husky community who might be at a higher risk of severe illness due to COVID-19. And so we're asking everyone to voluntarily comply with whatever regulations we have in place at the time. At this point in time, we have not determined what actually specific consequences there might be for those who choose not to participate. And I'm hopeful that we will not need to focus on that much in the fall, given our Husky attitudes here. So really what we're focusing on is let's all join together, do the right thing, and try to get to a point that we really can reduce those social distancing measures because we don't have the virus present here on campus.
Thank you. And you mentioned about students who might be at higher risk. So Bonnie, this question is for you. How are we going to protect students who may be at a higher risk who reside in the residence halls?
Sure. So any student who may have a high-risk condition should coordinate with our coordinator for student disability services and connect with her and share with her what kinds of accommodations they might need. And in turn, she'll work with housing to provide that accommodation.
Great. So Sarah, back to you for a question about the comprehensive strategic health screening process. What does that look like for us to detect and monitor COVID-19?
So what we have right now is what we're calling a daily symptom tracking form. This is an online form. At this point in time, you actually have to complete this daily before your tap access to buildings comes on. I don't know that that will still be in place at the time that students arrive, but it is an online form. It follows the CDC guidelines regarding what the symptoms of COVID-19 are. And it'll give you a report out automatically that indicates whether or not it's safe for you to be on campus in accordance with those CDC guidelines.
So are we going to test the entire student body?
Pretty unlikely. So I mentioned earlier, our testing program is voluntary. We will be doing asymptomatic testing to the extent that we're able to do that. Certainly we might ask you to participate and do an asymptomatic test at some point in time, or a symptomatic test if you develop symptoms. We really hope if you get that request that you will participate, because those tests really are designed to keep our Husky community safe. If we have an understanding of what's going on in our community, if we have those asymptomatic cases, that's what allows us to ensure that we're able to stop the spread and be able to loosen those social distancing restrictions that we'll have to have in place when students first return.
Great, thank you. So Bonnie, what will we do if a student tests positive for COVID-19 regarding isolation? I know you mentioned we have some spaces. Is there anything else that you could share with this person?
Sure. So what will happen is, as Sarah said, a student would be asked to take a test. And right now we're anticipating about a 24-hour turnaround in test results. And during that time, we would ask a student to self-isolate in their room. In the residence halls, the staff would be made aware of it, and dining would be providing meals. We'd also provide the students with some other resources so that if they needed some support, for my office, for example, we could reach out to the faculty if the student wanted us to do that. We can make them aware of counseling services if they wanted to talk with someone about that as well. So while we're waiting for the test results, those things will be put into place. If a student tests positive, we would then move them to one of our isolation spaces, and our EMS personnel would help with that transport. And then the student again would have those same kinds of supports in our isolation space.
Great, thank you so much. Another question for you on a little bit of we're going to switch gears here a little bit, but are there any special considerations to be aware of if a student is bringing a car to campus?
Well, I think as the summer goes on, students will get information about registering their cars, and they should follow that. And again, the same kind of information you provided, if they can take care of that before they get here, all the better, so that they can minimize the number of stops they need to make during the check-in process. Yeah, as well, sorry. I would also say throw a shovel in the trunk, because you never know when it's going to snow here. Periodically, you should plan to check your car so that you don't end up with a dead battery come Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and that information about registering vehicles will be on My Michigan Tech in the enrollment checklist. So if you are bringing a vehicle, I encourage you to watch that, and then you can take care of that, like Bonnie said, ahead of time. And that will again be one less thing that you need to do when you arrive for orientation and check-in. So Bonnie, one last question for you here from the previously submitted questions, and it's regarding the precautions that are being taken to reduce germ spread in the dorms.
So obviously this is a big concern, and we've been monitoring all of the recommendations and guidelines from the CDC. And as of right now, our intent is to increase our cleaning protocols and to clean all of and sanitize all of our high-touch surfaces on an increased scale.
So Jackie, I have a question here that's for you. Is there a specific type of laptop that is recommended for students, specifically forestry students?
So there are some general guidelines for what students should purchase. There's actually a website dedicated to that. I believe it's part of the admissions website. Maybe we can just cut and paste the web address into the chat box so that everybody has access to that. Some departments have identified specific requirements. I believe that for forestry, if I recollect correctly, it's the same as what the College of Engineering is requiring, and that's all laid out on that website.
And for the email that we are sending out as a follow-up, everyone, there will be a link to the laptop page so that you can see what those specifications are, and we'll have that ready to go out to you tomorrow once the link to this recording is available. So Bonnie, and you might not know this, but Joe might be able to help if you need it. Are there microwaves and refrigerators available for rent? And if so, what is that process?
Well, I do know that microwaves are not available for rent, and I don't think we rent refrigerators anymore either. That's been a number of years since we've done that.
That's correct, Bonnie. But again, I would emphasize that we have some convenient stores very close by that you can, either go purchase one, or that's the great thing about being able to communicate with your roommate and whatnot to talk about that. And plus, all of the residence halls have kitchenettes nearby too, with a refrigerator and microwave.
So Bonnie, how would we handle absences and classwork for students who may become ill with COVID-19, where they might be too ill to follow along with recorded lectures on a daily basis?
Right. Well, the American College Health Association has actually helped us and put out some guidelines in this regard. So obviously, students in this age range tend to have less severe symptoms. So our first hope is that they would be able to continue with remote instruction from their rooms or from the isolation space. If that's not possible, my office will certainly work with the student and connect with their faculty to make sure that students have extended time to complete assignments and to take exams.
So we've got a couple questions here about housing. So these are probably best answered by you, Bonnie. One is that my son was planning to room with 2 other boys that are his friends. I'm curious if there are any exceptions to the 2 people per room change.
As of right now, we have determined that we're not making exceptions to that rule.
And then they wondered about what happens to the 3rd person in a 3-person room.
So what we would try and do is we would try and match that student with another student, whether it's depending on the year, or transfer student, or potentially another incoming student.
And earlier in the presentation, Bonnie, you talked a little bit about student activities, and a question came in that asked, what is K-Day?
Oh, K-Day. Okay, thanks for that clarification or that question. So K-Day stands for Keweenaw Day. It has a long history, and it's actually, students get a half day off on campus in order for everyone to celebrate the Keweenaw, and we've turned it into a student organization event so that students have an opportunity to see everything that's available to them.
It's a really fun and exciting time on campus, for sure. Even remotely, if that's what we need to do, it's still going to be fun and exciting, for sure. So Sarah, here's a question for you. If we have to move to more remote instruction in the fall, and maybe this is better directed for Jackie, but will the students be having to return home, or will they be working remotely from campus?
So that will be guided in part by whatever the governor or the local officials have to say. So we talk a lot with our local health department and hospitals and try to get the best medical advice we can. It would be our preference to have everybody stay in the area if possible, because hopefully we'll be able to manage it here. We've got a lot of supports in place to make sure that we're able to manage things here. And if that happens, it might be kind of going remote, everybody working from home for a short period of time, and then coming back together as soon as possible.
So Bonnie, there's a question regarding when families will be getting move-in times because of the need to travel and make reservations and plans. Do you have any information on that to share?
Yes, they anticipate getting that information out in mid-July, early to mid-July.
Fantastic. And remember, check your Michigan Tech email and also your home mailing information for those kinds of details. So there's a question here that I actually get to answer. It's about how can I change my major? And if you are looking to change your major before you enroll, you can simply email or call the admissions office. Let us know what you'd like to change to, and we'll be able to do that for you without any problem at all. It's a really great idea if you are thinking of changing your major to do that before July, just so that then your schedule will reflect your new major if there are any other classes that you should be taking because of that change. So Bonnie, we're going to go back to you again. How are things going? How are we going to be placing students in housing? So the question says, I assume there was not originally enough room for everyone to be in a double. So where are we placing the other people? And are there going to be any extra safety protocols for those who live off campus?
Ooh, there's a lot in that question. Okay, so one piece at a time. So Michigan Tech has an apartment complex called Daniel Heights Apartments. And most often we have a large number of graduate students and international students that live in Daniel Heights. And one of the things, of course, we're seeing as a result of COVID is a decline in the international students' ability to travel. So we have a process established where we've invited students who were living in the residence halls to move up to Daniel Heights. And we believe that we'll be able to move enough students into the Daniel Heights apartments that we'll be able to accommodate all of the incoming students with 2 people in a room. The second part of that was, what was the second part, Allie?
Oh, there was extra safety protocols for people who live off campus.
Oh, off-campus people. So we are asking the off-campus people to follow the same protocols that Sarah outlined earlier, doing the daily system monitoring and encouraging them as well to follow up on testing that's required. We'll be doing some additional communication to them. We actually have a town hall scheduled for current students in July to be able to talk with them a little bit more about our protocols and plans.
Joe, here's a financial aid question for you. I've read about the CARES Act regarding a financial grant due to the virus. Is that available? And how does a student go about applying?
Question. So right now, the CARES Act, which is federal dollars that was distributed to colleges and universities, was traditionally meant for students that have been here now. And so while Michigan Tech did and is currently in the process of the distribution of those funds, as I mentioned earlier, our financial aid department is and always will be ready to assist if you have financial questions or concerns. The CARES Act funding, the majority though, will be paid out to current students that have been here. But like I said before, we certainly will explore any available options with you and your family, for whatever we may have available.
Thanks, Joe. Sarah, here's a question. How will contact tracing be conducted?
So our contact tracing program is going to be done in conjunction with the Western UP Health Department, which is our local health department. It covers 5 counties up here. And in addition, we're working with an epidemiologist who is a faculty member here, who happens to be certified to do contact tracing through the state and who works closely with our local health department on some other issues. So for COVID-19 positive individuals, their interview will be conducted by the local health department. There is going to be a volunteer corps of contact tracing individuals headed by our epidemiologist, Kelly Cam, who will then work on the contacting individuals who have been in close contact with the person who is the COVID-19 positive case. So it works much like contact tracing is working across the state with our own local twist on it.
Great, thank you for that information. So we've got about 10 minutes left. We're going to continue to get through as many questions as we can. We have about 90 to go, so I don't think we're going to get through all of those today, but we will be getting through as many as we can. So Bonnie, I'm going to kick one back to you. What is the parents' expected involvement during move-in and orientation?
Great question. So we do have an orientation program set up for parents, and I have to be honest, the details of that I am not familiar with yet, as we've been focusing on our plans to bring students back. I imagine that there will be sessions that will be available both online and in person. We have indicated at this point that we will be limiting only 2 people to assist a student in move-in. So we know sometimes that folks make it a family affair, and unfortunately we won't be able to accommodate those people in the residence halls. They're certainly welcome to travel with the student, but we'll only be able to have 2 people go into the residence halls with the student.
Joe, a question for you. Are first-year students eligible for on-campus jobs, and where can they find more information about those job postings?
Sure, and absolutely, first-year students absolutely are eligible for on-campus jobs. The best place to look is through our Husky Jobs portal. It's a portal that Career Services maintains. If you go to our Career Services webpage, you can find more there. I will say, just because of the shift that we've all been in, there may not be too much posted right now, but there will be a lot more happening as we get closer to the start of the school year. The other thing that we typically will do is an on-campus job fair, actually, that takes place the first week of classes. And again, much like Bonnie said earlier, you know, that may look a little different. It may be something that's virtual instead, but we try our best to put those opportunities out there, not only to benefit our students, but to benefit our offices as well, because they're often looking for help too.
Allie, if I could jump in here just and add a comment. So the on-campus jobs are posted through a system called Handshake that is available and coordinated through Career Services. And I was actually talking with the director about this, and she indicated that students can go in probably mid-July and set up a profile on Handshake. And then from usually about that time on, departments who have opportunities for students start posting there, and students can be checking that on a regular basis for potential employment.
So Bonnie, a question, do we still plan to have pep band?
We do still plan to have pep band. That's a great question. And I have to say, I just got an email about the pep band, and actually from the president, asking about the plans that they have already laid out in order to do band camp, adhering to physical distancing practices. I was super impressed by the fact that they'd been already thinking about that. So we do plan to have it. We're working with them in terms of what band camp will look like during orientation. And hopefully we'll be able to get new students involved in that, whoever wants to be.
Terrific. Joe, if my student takes a gap year and does not take any college classes, will he still be eligible to receive his first-year Platinum Academic Scholarship for fall 2021?
Sure. So, Allie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if a student does take a gap year, we do still require that they reapply for admission to the institution. Is that correct?
That is correct, yep.
Excellent. And so as a result of that, there's still the same process that you would have gone through to be considered for scholarships. You know, for many students that do that, in many cases, their financial aid may be the same after that, but there's other things to take into account as well. And for instance, when you do the FAFSA, need-based aid may vary depending on the expected family contribution. But in most cases, that financial aid will stay the same. If you are thinking of doing that, it never hurts to reach out and contact financial aid in advance too.
So Bonnie, how will grab-and-go meals work, and how will we ensure that students get enough to eat?
Well, many students have an unlimited meal plan, so they can go back and eat as many times as they want. So that part is really not an issue. And in terms of the way that pre-COVID, right, students were able to go in and choose what they wanted and put it on their own plates. In the grab and go setup, everything will be served to them in the containers that they have. So like I said, they'll be able to go back as often as they'd like.
And is residency still a requirement for first-year students to live on campus? Are they required to live in the dorms?
Yes.
So Sarah, here's a question for you. If a roommate of a student that tested positive, will they be informed of that infection? And that's a question regarding HIPAA rules.
So anyone on campus who has been in close contact with an individual who has COVID-19 will be informed that they have been in close contact with an individual with COVID-19. We will not be disclosing names when we do those notifications, but in a roommate situation, honestly, they're most likely to know who that individual is. In addition, when we have that close contact, that person will likely be moved into quarantine by the local health department, and we have some protocols in place to do that. They will be quarantining, I believe, in their rooms during that time. And if they happen to test positive later on, then they might be moved to isolation as well.
So a question regarding the test, Sarah, does the family have to pay for that test? What if they don't have health insurance?
So this is a more complicated question, but my simple answer is going to be, so Governor Whitmer has said that no one in Michigan will pay for a COVID-19 test. We are working out the details to ensure that that's true. We do not intend for our testing program to burden anybody financially. So at this point in time, my understanding is no one has borne a cost related to COVID-19 testing, and it is our intention to keep it that way.
Great, thank you. So there's a question here as well about the clinic on campus and asking what type of hours they have if symptoms of COVID are present. Should students go there? Do they call 911? What should they do?
So if you think you may have COVID-19, what you should do is call your preferred medical provider. And Upper Great Lakes is a clinic that is on campus, and we have their phone number posted in a myriad of locations. In addition, if you do your symptom monitoring portal and you indicate that you think you might have COVID-19, it will generate a referral for you to the Upper Great Lakes clinic that is on campus. You can either just schedule a test or you can get in touch with a medical provider there.
Thank you. Bonnie, a couple questions for you here. One is about Parents Weekend, wondering if there are any changes or cancellations to that opportunity.
I think we have not made a decision about that as of yet.
And then back to the grab and go dining plan option. They're wondering if that is temporary and if it would come off as part of one of our additional phases in reopening.
Well, certainly we would love for that to come off and to be able to resume sort of our normal operation. And if we are able to get to level 1, we would certainly do that and adjust accordingly.
Okay, fantastic. So Jackie, question for you about remote and asynchronous learning. Is this available as an option for families that decide not to send their student at the beginning of fall semester? And how would housing be handled in that case when a student is ready to come to campus?
So the housing question, I do not feel prepared to answer, so I'll push that one off to Bonnie. But as far as could they participate remotely or online, the answer is yes. So right now we're working across campus for all the courses to make sure that people who are participating from home, whether it be the dorm room here at Michigan Tech or home someplace else in the US or anywhere in the world, are going to have basically the same experience as students in the classroom. And so, you know, that's putting a lot of demands on our faculty because they kind of have to teach 2 different ways at the same time, but they're all rising to the task and pretty excited about testing out some new models. So the answer is yes. And as far as if you want to come to campus later and is there going to be a room for you, I'm going to have to pass that one off to Bonnie.
So I'm not sure if the person means can they come in January, will there be a room? It will depend on availability. We typically have rooms in the spring semester where we could accommodate a student who wanted to come at that time.
Great. So we've got time for 1 or 2 more questions. I'm going to handle a few of those, and then we have a couple closing comments before we end our time together today. So this particular question is about AP scores, so I'll field that one, that the College Board website is saying the scores will not be available until July 15th. That is when the scores are available to the student. The universities typically get those before the student does, so we're anticipating getting those scores in early July, which is when College Board has told us they'll be released to us. If for some reason those scores are delayed, then the student schedule will simply be adjusted. So we make all the changes here. Whatever you do, don't worry about having the classes that you need for fall. Our registration coordinator seriously works tirelessly to make sure that you have exactly the classes that you need to keep you on track and make sure that you're going to be getting everything ready for fall semester. So don't let scheduling be a concern at all. If there are any changes you need to make, you can always connect with her through email over the summer, or there will be time during orientation for you to make those changes as well. So one last question here was if students can visit campus this summer. And as Sarah mentioned earlier, we are allowing some visitors back on campus starting June. Happy to report it's June 22nd, and we're really excited to have families being able to come for a campus visit. I would encourage you to really reserve that time if you have not had the opportunity to visit yet. We are offering tours in a modified format. There are some things you're not going to be able to see in person, but there's a lot that you are going to be able to see. You're still going to have a student tour guide with you to share their experiences and answer questions for you. But we are having to limit the number of visitors on campus for any particular tour time. So if it's possible for you to come as a smaller family unit or only have really those people critical to visiting and taking that tour to participate, and making sure that maybe this isn't your second, third, or fourth visit, but allowing space for those families for whom this is their first time on campus to really make this critical college decision about if Michigan Tech will be their home in the fall or not. Our visit registration is open on the admissions site. You can go ahead and register for a visit, and we'll be happy to accommodate that as much as possible, still ensuring that you have a really great experience and seeing everything you need. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up. I wanted to thank you all so much for joining us, for sticking with us for this time today. There are a lot of questions we unfortunately were not able to get to. If you are one of those folks, please resend that to the email you see here on the screen, the MTU Flex email. We'll make sure that gets to the appropriate person. If it is possible for us to identify you through the name you provided when you logged into Zoom, we will do our very best to email you. However, I know some of you may not have provided your full name, so we might not be able to follow up. So do use that information and email us. But we are happy to be here for you for whatever you need. Any questions you have, reach out, connect with us. We are happy to help and make sure that you have all the questions answered and the information you need as you prepare to join us in the fall. We're excited to welcome you back. We're excited to have you here as our incoming class of 2020. And thank you so much again for being with us. Have a wonderful evening and a great rest of your week. Bye.